The massive starship Hope's Dawn drifted silently through the dark space between stars, its hull scarred from countless battles. Inside, Captain Sarah Chen stared at the blinking red warning lights on her command console. They were running out of fuel, and Earth was gone. "Status report," she ordered, her voice steady despite the fear churning in her stomach. The bridge crew, the last 100 humans in this sector of space, worked frantically at their stations. Lieutenant James Rodriguez looked up from his screen, his dark eyes worried. "Bad news, Captain. The swarm destroyed our last supply depot. We have enough fuel for one more jump, maybe two if we shut down life support on the lower decks." Sarah nodded, her short black hair falling across her face as she studied the star charts. The alien swarm had appeared 6 months ago, destroying Earth and most of human civilization in their first attack. Now they hunted the surviving ships, determined to wipe out humanity completely. "What about the strange signal we picked up?" Sarah asked, turning to their communications officer, Dr. Emma Williams. The older woman adjusted her glasses, excitement visible on her tired face. "It's unlike anything we've seen before, Captain. Not swarm, not human. It's coming from a system about 1 jump away." Emma pointed to a faint star on their map. "The pattern suggests artificial origin. Someone's out there." Sarah felt hope stir in her chest for the first time in weeks. If there were other advanced aliens out there, maybe they could help. The swarm couldn't be the only other intelligent life in the galaxy. "Any sign of pursuit?" she asked the sensor operator. "Clear for now, Captain. The swarm ships we detected earlier changed course. They might have found easier prey." The young operator's voice was bitter. They had seen too many refugee ships destroyed in recent months. Sarah made her decision. With Earth gone and fuel running low, they had little choice. Plot a course to the signal's origin. All hands to jump stations. The bridge crew moved with practiced efficiency, preparing the ship for faster-than-light travel. Sarah watched them with pride. Despite everything they'd lost, they kept fighting, kept hoping. "Jump drive charging," Rodriguez reported. 80%, 90. Suddenly alarms blared. "Swarm ships." The sensor operator shouted. 3 carriers just appeared on long-range scans. Sarah's hands tightened on her chair. Time to jump. 30 seconds. Swarm launching fighters. 2 minutes until they're in range. The massive enemy ships appeared on their main screen, organic-looking vessels that seemed to pulse with sickly green light. Smaller shapes poured from their hangars like angry wasps. 20 seconds to jump. Sarah watched the enemy fighters approach, remembering Earth's final moments. The swarm had appeared without warning, without demands. They simply attacked, destroying everything in their path. 10 seconds. Fighters entering weapons range. The first shots flashed past their ship, the swarm's energy weapons leaving trails of green fire in space. The Hope's Dawn shuddered as several hits struck their shields. "Jump. Now." Reality twisted around them as the jump drive activated. Stars blurred into streaks of light, and Sarah felt the familiar disorientation of faster-than-light travel. When her vision cleared, a new star system filled their screens. "Jump successful," Rodriguez reported. "But that's it, Captain. Jump drive is completely drained." Sarah nodded grimly. They were committed now. "Begin scanning for the signal source. Whatever's out there, it's our only hope now." As her crew worked, Sarah stared at the unknown stars around them. Somewhere out there was the source of that strange signal. She just hoped they'd live long enough to find it. The last human ship had arrived at its final destination. The real question was, what would they find here? The alien sun cast a purple glow through the bridge windows of the Hope's Dawn as they orbited the system's 3rd planet. Captain Sarah Chen hadn't slept in 24 hours, but she couldn't rest. Not yet. "Signal is definitely coming from the planet's surface," Dr. Emma Williams reported, her eyes fixed on her console. "It's stronger now, I'm picking up regular patterns, maybe some kind of greeting message. The planet below them looked like a marble swirled with blue and green, surprisingly Earth-like, except for the purple-tinted clouds. Their scans had detected an atmosphere they could breathe if they had to land. Any signs of cities? Technology? Sarah asked. Lieutenant Rodriguez adjusted their sensors. There's something big on the northern continent. Metallic structures, lots of them. But, he frowned, no movement. No vehicles, no ships. It's like a ghost city. Sarah studied the tactical display. They had no choice but to investigate. Their fuel was gone, and the swarm would eventually track them here. Prepare a landing team. I'll lead it myself. Captain, Rodriguez protested. It's too risky. We don't know what's down there. We don't have options anymore, James. Sarah stood up. The ship's yours until I return. If the swarm shows up, take our people and run. That's an order. 30 minutes later, Sarah stood in the shuttle bay with her team. Dr. Williams to study the signal, Security Chief Mike Torres for protection, and Engineer Priapodal to handle any alien tech they found. All of them wore combat suits, just in case. The shuttle ride through the atmosphere was rough, purple clouds buffeting them as they descended. When they broke through, Sarah gasped. The alien city stretched for miles, gleaming towers of silver and gold reaching into the sky. But Rodriguez was right. There was no movement, no life visible anywhere. They landed in what looked like a plaza, surrounded by magnificent buildings covered in strange symbols. The air was breathable, just as their scans had shown. Look at this architecture, Priya whispered as they stepped out. It's beautiful, like nothing we've ever seen. The signals coming from that building, Emma pointed to a pyramid-shaped structure that seemed to glow from within. It's much stronger now. They walked through the empty streets, their footsteps echoing. Everything was clean, pristine, as if the inhabitants had simply vanished moments ago. No signs of battle, Torres noted, his weapon ready. No damage anywhere. Where did everyone go? They reached the pyramid's entrance, a massive doorway that opened silently as they approached. Inside, soft lights activated automatically, illuminating corridors decorated with intricate patterns that seemed to shift and move. The signal's leading us down, Emma said, following her scanner. Some kind of basement level. They descended on a floating platform that responded to their presence. The deeper they went, the more complex the patterns became, until Sarah realized they weren't just decorations. They were star maps. The platform stopped in a vast circular chamber. In its center stood a holographic display of the galaxy, spinning slowly. As they watched, certain areas turned red. Those are swarm attack patterns, Sarah realized. They've done this before. A voice spoke, not in sound but directly in their minds, gentle but alien. Welcome, survivors. We have waited long for others to find us. The hologram shifted, showing a new image. Creatures of pure energy, beautiful and strange. We are the Ascended. Once, like you, we fought the swarm. Now we offer you a choice. Join us in our evolution, or learn the weapons we created to fight them. But choose quickly. The swarm approaches, and this time, they bring their queen. Sarah looked at her team, seeing the same mix of fear and hope on their faces. They had found their miracle, but now they faced an even bigger decision. The fate of humanity would depend on their choice. Sarah and her team stood silent in the vast chamber, the ascended beings' offer hanging in the air. The holographic display shifted again, showing two paths, one glowing with the same energy as the ascended, the other revealing complex weapon schematics. How long do we have? Sarah asked, her voice echoing in the chamber. 3 of your Earth days before the swarm arrives, the mind voice answered. Their queen has sensed your presence. She remembers Earth's resistance. Dr. Emma Williams stepped forward, her scanner forgotten in her hand. You mentioned evolution. What exactly does that mean? The hologram changed, showing human figures transforming into beings of pure energy. Your consciousness would transcend physical form. Join us in the higher dimensions, safe from the swarm forever. And abandon everyone on our ship. Security Chief Torres growled. Leave humanity behind. Those who choose to stay physical would receive our weapons and knowledge, the Ascended explained. Both paths offer survival. Sarah watched the hologram cycle between the two choices. Why offer us this chance? Why help us at all? Because you fought. Pride colored the alien mind voice. When the swarm attacked Earth, humanity didn't surrender. You survived, adapted, kept fighting. Few species show such resilience. Engineer Priya studied the weapon schematics floating before them. These designs, they're incredible. Energy weapons that could pierce swarm armor, shields they couldn't break. But physical weapons mean we keep fighting, Emma argued. The Ascended offer a way to end the war completely. Sarah felt the weight of command heavy on her shoulders. This wasn't just about their survival anymore. It was about humanity's future path. We need to show this to the others. Everyone deserves a voice in this choice. The Ascended agreed, providing them with data crystals containing both options. As they prepared to return to their shuttle, the mind voice spoke again. Remember, the Queen comes. She remembers how Earth's weapons hurt her children. This time, she leads the hunt herself. The journey back to the Hope's Dawn was tense, each person lost in thought. When they reached the ship, Sarah called an emergency meeting in the main cargo bay. The only space large enough to hold all their remaining people. Standing before the gathered crowd, Sarah explained everything. The holograms from the data crystals floated above them, showing both possibilities. The room erupted in debate. We can't stop being human, someone shouted. But we could be more than human, another argued. Rodriguez stepped forward. Captain, long-range sensors detected something. The swarm's coming, but it's different this time. The ships, they're bigger than anything we've seen. Sarah nodded grimly. The Queen's fleet. An older man stood up, his voice cutting through the chaos. Why choose? Everyone turned to look at him. It was Dr. Chen Park, their chief scientist. The Ascended offer us two gifts. Why not use both? What do you mean? Sarah asked. Some of us transform, join the Ascended, help guide humanity from there. Others stay, fight with the new weapons, protect those who can't or won't evolve yet. Park smiled. We've always adapted to survive. Why stop now? A murmur of agreement spread through the crowd. Sarah felt hope rising again. We'll need volunteers for both paths, and we'll need to work fast. We have less than 3 days. As people began organizing themselves into groups, Sarah stared out the cargo bay window at the purple sun. Humanity stood at a crossroads, about to split into two paths. But maybe that's what they needed. To be both sword and shield, physical and energy, fighters and transcendent beings. The real question was, would it be enough when the Queen arrived? 2 days had passed since the choice was made. The Hope's Dawn hummed with activity as the crew worked frantically to prepare for both paths. In the ship's main laboratory, Dr. Chen Park led the first group preparing for ascension, while in the hangar bay, Engineer Priya supervised the installation of the new weapons. Sarah watched from the observation deck as the first volunteer stepped into the transformation chamber they'd built according to the Ascended specifications. Inside, Maria Santos, a young physicist, floated in a sphere of golden light. Are you ready? Park asked through the intercom. Maria's voice was steady. Ready. For humanity. The chamber filled with blinding light. When it faded, Maria's physical body was gone. In its place, a being of pure energy hovered, its form shifting like an aurora. How do you feel? Sarah asked. When Maria spoke, her voice came directly into their minds, just like the Ascended. It's incredible. I can see everything, feel everything. The universe is so much bigger than we imagined. One by one, more volunteers transformed. Each successful ascension strengthened Sarah's hope. But they weren't just gaining allies. They were saying goodbye to friends, watching them leave their humanity behind to become something greater. In the hangar bay, the situation was just as intense. Priya's team worked nonstop, installing the Ascended's weapons. The Hope's Dawn's hull now bristled with crystalline cannons that pulsed with otherworldly energy. Weapons test successful, Priya reported over the comm. These guns could punch through a swarm carrier like it was paper. Lieutenant Rodriguez interrupted from the bridge. "Captain, you need to see this." Sarah rushed to the bridge. The tactical display showed hundreds of swarm ships dropping out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the system. Leading them was a vessel that dwarfed anything they'd seen before. "The Queen's ship. It's the size of a small moon," Rodriguez whispered. The newly ascended beings appeared on the bridge, their energy forms casting soft light across the consoles. Maria floated forward. "We can sense her," Maria's mind voice said. "The Queen. She's ancient. Angry. Earth hurt her children more than any species has in millennia." The massive swarm fleet moved closer, spreading out in an attack formation they'd never seen before. The Queen's ship pulsed with sickly green light, like a dying star. "All hands to battle stations," Sarah ordered. "Ascended team, take your positions." They had practiced this. The transformed humans would use their energy forms to enhance the ship's shields and guide their weapons. The physical crew would operate the new guns. They would face the Queen together, as both human and energy beings. "The Queen is broadcasting," Emma reported from communications. For the first time, they heard the swarm's voice, a horrifying screech that made their teeth ache. Humans. The Queen's thoughts hammered into their minds. "You should Now, you will see here." Sarah stood on her bridge, watching the enemy approach. Behind her, human crew members worked alongside their ascended companions. They had chosen both paths, becoming something new, something that combined humanity's fighting spirit with the Ascended's power. "All weapons charged," Priya reported from engineering. "Shields at maximum." The Ascended beings chorized in their minds. "Swarm fighters launching," Rodriguez warned. "Thousands of them." Sarah took a deep breath. This was the moment that would decide humanity's future. They had just one chance to prove that their dual evolution was the right choice. "The Queen thinks we should have accepted extinction," Sarah said to her crew, both physical and energy. "Let's show her why humans never surrender. All weapons, fire." The battle for humanity's survival was about to begin. And this time, they weren't just fighting as humans. They were fighting as something more. Space erupted in chaos as the battle began. The Hope's Dawn's new weapons blazed with brilliant white light, each shot guided by their ascended companions. Where normal weapons had merely damaged swarm ships, these crystalline cannons tore through them completely. "First wave destroyed," Rodriguez reported, his hands dancing across the tactical controls. "But more incoming." Sarah watched as thousands of swarm fighters swarmed toward them like angry insects. The Queen's massive ship hung back, directing the attack. Through the bridge windows, the enemy fighters looked like a cloud of green death. Shields holding at 90%. Maria's energy form reported, swirling around the bridge. "The Ascended technology is incredible. We can actually see their attacks coming before they hit." The Hope's Dawn moved with new grace as the Ascended humans helped guide its systems. Swarm fighters exploded by the hundreds, but there were always more. The Queen had brought her entire fleet for this battle. Suddenly, the ship shuddered violently. "New attack pattern," Priya shouted from engineering. "The Queen's ship is channeling some kind of energy beam through her fighters." Sarah watched in horror as green energy coursed between the swarm fighters, forming a massive web around the Hope's Dawn. Where the energy touched their shields, reality itself seemed to warp. "She's trying to cut us off from normal space," one of the Ascended crew members warned. If that web closes, we'll be trapped. Sarah's mind raced. They needed a new strategy, fast. Maria, can you and the other ascended beings disrupt that energy web? Yes, but we'll have to leave the ship exposed for a few moments. Do it, Sarah ordered. Everyone else, prepare for close-range combat. When that web comes down, I want every weapon firing at the Queen's ship. The ascended humans streamed out of the asterisk Hope's Dawn asterisk like ribbons of light, their energy forms merging with the swarm's web. The ship's shields weakened without their support, and swarm weapons began to strike the hull. Hull breaches on decks 5 through 8. Rodriguez reported. Emergency force fields holding. Through the chaos, Sarah watched their ascended crew members fighting inside the energy web. Where their light touched the swarm's green energy, massive disruptions rippled outward. The web began to break apart. The Queen is moving, Emma shouted from her station. The massive royal ship was turning, its weapons powering up for a direct attack. All power to forward shields. Sarah commanded. Stand by on main weapons. The energy web collapsed as their ascended companions overcame it. In that same moment, the Queen's ship fired, a beam of pure destruction that could have cracked a planet. Now, Sarah shouted. Every weapon on the asterisk Hope's Dawn asterisk fired at once, their shots guided by the returning ascended crew. The crystalline cannon's white beams met the Queen's green death ray in space. For a moment, everything seemed to stop. The point where the weapons met blazed brighter than a sun. Then, impossibly, their beams began pushing back the Queen's attack. It's working, Prayad yelled. The ascended weapons are actually stronger. The Queen's mental scream of rage echoed through all their minds as her beam was overwhelmed. The asterisk Hope's Dawn's asterisk weapons struck her massive ship, burning through its organic armor. Direct hit, Rodriguez reported triumphantly. Her main weapons are down. But the Queen wasn't finished. Her remaining fighters gathered around her damaged ship, forming new patterns. Sarah could feel the ancient creature's fury. And beneath it, for the first time, fear. She's never seen anything like us before, Maria's mind voice observed. A species that could both fight and transcend. She doesn't know how to counter it. Sarah gripped her command chair as the Queen prepared her next attack. They had wounded the ancient monster, but the battle was far from over. The real question now was, what would a wounded Queen do to destroy those who had hurt her? The Queen's wounded ship pulsed with sickly green light as its organic hull began to change shape. The surrounding swarm fighters merged into it like drops of water, making the already massive vessel even larger. She's absorbing her own fleet, Emma gasped, watching the horrifying transformation on their screens. Not just absorbing them, Maria's energy form flickered with alarm. She's evolving, using their mass to heal and transform herself. The Queen's mental presence crashed against their minds again, stronger than before. You think you understand evolution, humans. I have changed a million times in a million wars. The transformed royal ship now resembled a massive crystalline spider, its legs stretching for miles through space. Each limb ended in weapons that crackled with energy. Multiple weapons powering up, Rodriguez warned. She's targeting us from all directions. Sarah knew they couldn't survive a full attack from the transformed Queen. Engineer Patel, how much power can we draw from the ascended crystals? They're already at maximum. Praya's voice crackled over the comm. Any more, and they might shatter. One of the ascended crew members, formerly Dr. Lee from Medical, floated forward. Captain, we have an idea. It's dangerous, but... Tell me, Sarah demanded as the Queen's weapons charge. We can merge with the crystals ourselves, Lee's mind voice explained. Channel our energy through them. It might give us the power we need. But the crystals could overload, Maria added. We don't know if we'd survive. Sarah looked at her transformed crew members, their light forms dimming slightly with fear, but still determined. They had already given up their human bodies to help fight. Now they were willing to risk their new forms as well. "Do it," Sarah ordered, her heart heavy. But only volunteers. Every ascended crew member moved without hesitation, streaming toward the weapon crystals. The Queen's ship fired, multiple energy beams converging on the Hope's Dawn from different angles. "Brace for impact," Sarah shouted. But before the Queen's attack hit, their ship began to change. The crystalline weapons glowed blindingly bright as the ascended humans merged with them. Energy coursed through the hull, transforming the metal itself. "The entire ship is becoming crystalline," Pryor reported in awe. "The ascended technology is spreading." The Queen's beams struck their hull and reflected back, amplified by the crystalline structure. The massive spider ship recoiled as its own attacks hit it. "Impossible." The Queen's mental scream was tinged with disbelief. "Nothing is impossible for humanity," Sarah responded, her voice steady. "We adapt, we evolve, and we never fight alone." The Hope's Dawn now shone like a star, its hull a perfect fusion of human technology and ascended crystal, powered by the sacrifice of their transformed crew. Every weapon pulsed with their combined energy. "All weapons linked," Rodriguez reported. "The ascended crew. They're giving us everything they have." Sarah stood on her glowing bridge, feeling the presence of her transformed crew in every part of the ship. They weren't just weapons now. They had become part of the Hope's Dawn itself. "One chance," Sarah said. "Fire everything." The ship released a blast of pure white energy that illuminated the entire star system. The Queen's massive form was engulfed in light as the combined power of human determination and ascended technology struck her transformed vessel. When the light faded, the Queen's ship was breaking apart, its crystalline legs shattering into space. But from deep within the dying vessel, Sarah felt one last pulse of the Queen's thoughts. "You have not idouen. You have only shown us what we must be men." As the Queen's ship collapsed, Sarah wondered about those final words. Had they truly won, or had they just started something even bigger? And how many of their ascended crew had survived merging with the crystals? The battle was over, but Sarah knew deep in her heart, this was only the beginning. The Hope's Dawn drifted in the aftermath of battle, its crystalline hull still glowing faintly. Debris from the Queen's destroyed ship floated like a new asteroid field around them. On the bridge, Sarah and her remaining physical crew waited anxiously for any sign of their ascended companions. "Life support stabilizing," Pryor reported from engineering, her voice tired. "The crystal transformation is receding from non-essential systems." "Any response from our ascended crew?" Sarah asked, staring at the quiet weapons crystals that had absorbed their transformed friends. Emma worked at her communication station, tears in her eyes. "Nothing yet, Captain. Just silence." Suddenly, one of the bridge crystals pulsed with weak light. A familiar mind voice whispered in their thoughts. We survived. Most of us, but we're changed again." Maria's energy form emerged from the crystal, but she was different now. Her light had patterns within it, geometric shapes that looked like the ascended technology. One by one, more of their transformed crew appeared, all changed in similar ways. The merge with the crystals. Dr. Lee's altered form explained. "It's made us something new. Not quite ascended, not quite human, but more." Rodriguez checked his sensors. "Captain, you need to see this. The Queen's destruction. It's having an effect on all swarm ships in the sector. They're going dormant." The tactical display showed swarm vessels across multiple star systems shutting down, their organic hulls becoming lifeless shells. Without the Queen's control, they were nothing but empty husks. She was controlling all of them, Emma realized. "When we killed her, we freed dozens of systems," Sarah finished, but something bothered her. The Queen's final words echoed in her mind. "You have only shown us what we must become." Dr. Park, who had stayed behind to monitor the transformation chamber, rushed onto the bridge. "Captain, the Ascended are contacting us again. They say it's urgent." The ancient energy beings appeared before them, their presence more agitated than before. "You have achieved something unprecedented," they communicated. "But you have also created a new danger." "What do you mean?" Sarah asked, though she feared she already knew. "The remaining swarm queens will come," the Ascended explained. "They will study what happened here. They will try to evolve as you have, to combine organic, mechanical, and energy forms. The war is about to change." Maria's crystal-patterned energy form moved closer to Sarah. "Then we'll need to change too. The transformation chamber. We can improve it now. Create more like us, ready for the new fight. And those who wish to stay physical can still use the enhanced weapons," Priya added. "We can keep developing them, understanding them better." Sarah looked at her crew, both physical and transformed. They had already evolved beyond anything humanity had dreamed of, and now they would need to evolve further still. "How long do we have?" she asked the Ascended. "Months, perhaps. The queens are scattered across the galaxy, but they will come." Sarah nodded, her decision made. "Then we have work to do. We need to find other human survivors, show them what we've discovered. Build more ships like the Hope's Dawn *. Create more crystal-merged beings like our crew. We'll need to learn how to control these new powers," Lee's transformed form added. "The crystal merge gave us abilities we don't even understand yet." The Ascended pulsed with approval. "We will help you prepare. Your species has proven itself worthy not just of survival, but of ascension itself, even if you have chosen your own unique path to it." As her crew began organizing their next steps, Sarah watched the transformed Hope's Dawn * growing stronger, its crystalline systems adapting and improving themselves. They had won their first real victory against the swarm, but the real challenge was just beginning. Humanity would need to evolve faster than ever before. The next time the queens came, they would face not just humans, but something entirely new, a species that had mastered 3 forms of existence at once. The question was, would they be ready in time? 3 months after the Queen's defeat, the Hope's Dawn * had become something extraordinary. Its crystalline hull now rippled with energy patterns, the merged consciousness of its transformed crew flowing through every system. The ship wasn't just a vessel anymore. It was alive. Sarah stood in the new transformation chamber, watching as another group of survivors prepared for evolution. They had found 4 other human ships hiding in distant systems, each one carrying precious remnants of their species. "The process is safer now," Maria's crystal-patterned form explained to the nervous volunteers. "We understand how to merge with the technology properly. You won't just become energy beings, you'll become part of something greater." In engineering, Priya worked alongside both human and transformed crew, developing weapons that combined all 3 states of existence. Physical crystals, energy beings, and organic technology they'd learned to grow from studying the swarm debris. Early warning network is expanding, Rodriguez reported from his station. The Hope's Dawn * had seeded nearby systems with crystalline sensors, creating a web that could detect approaching swarm ships. "Any signs of the queens?" Sarah asked, returning to the bridge. "Nothing yet, but the dormant swarm ships, they're changing." Rodriguez brought up images on the main screen. The abandoned swarm vessels were slowly dissolving, their organic matter breaking down into something new. Dr. Park, who had finally agreed to transformation last week, floated near the science station. His crystalline energy form pulsed with concern. "They're preparing, just as we are. The queens are reshaping their dead ships into something else." Sarah studied the tactical display, now showing 5 transformed human ships spread across the sector. Each vessel shone with the same crystalline energy as the Hope's Dawn *, their crews a perfect blend of physical and ascended beings. "Message from the Ascended," Emma announced. The ancient energy beings appeared on the bridge, their presence stronger than ever. "The queens are gathering," they warned. 7 of them, combining their fleets. "They have seen what you achieved and are attempting their own evolution. When they come, it will be with power we have never witnessed." "How long?" Sarah asked. "Days, perhaps hours." The bridge crew, both physical and transformed, waited for Sarah's response. In 3 months, they had evolved more than humanity had in millions of years. But would it be enough? "Send word to the other ships," Sarah ordered. "Tell them to gather here. We face this together." As their small fleet assembled, Sarah watched her crew preparing for the coming battle. The transformed humans flowed through the ship's systems, their crystal-merged forms growing stronger each day. The physical crew worked with new organic crystal hybrid tools, their bodies partially transformed by constant exposure to the energy. "Look," Maria's voice whispered in their minds. Through the ship's enhanced sensors, they could see energy patterns shifting in nearby space. "They're coming." 7 massive ships emerged from faster-than-light travel, each one a horrifying combination of organic matter and crystalline structure. The queens had learned from their sisters' defeat, creating vessels that pulsed with both swarm life and stolen energy. "They think they can copy what we've become," Dr. Park observed, his energy form brightening with determination. "But they don't understand what really makes us strong." Sarah nodded, watching her fleet of 5 ships move into formation. They were outnumbered, facing queens who had ruled space for millennia. But every ship in her fleet carried something the swarm could never truly copy: the human spirit, transformed but unbroken. "All ships, power up weapons," she ordered. "Transformed crews, merge with your systems. Physical crews, stand ready." The Queen's massive vessels moved closer, their combined mental presence hammering against their minds. But humanity had evolved beyond simple mental attacks. They were something new now, something that existed in all 3 states at once. The final battle for humanity's future was about to begin. Not just for survival, but for the right to define what evolution truly meant. Space erupted into blinding light as 7 queens and 5 human ships clashed in the final battle. The Hope's Dawn led the charge, its crystalline hull blazing with the combined power of its transformed crew. "They're trying to copy our weapon patterns," Rodriguez reported as the Queen's ships fired energy beams similar to their own. But where the swarm's attacks were forced and crude, humanity's weapons flowed with natural grace. "Of course they can't copy us properly," Maria's crystal-merged form pulsed. "They're trying to force evolution. We embraced it." The Queen's mental voices thundered in their minds. "Your evolution is an accident. We have controlled our changes for millions of years." Sarah watched as organic crystals grew from the Queen's ships, a twisted mirror of humanity's transformation. But something was wrong with their copies. The crystals were unstable, fighting against the swarm's natural form. "All ships, execute Pattern Nova," Sarah commanded. Their 5 ships moved in perfect synchronization, their transformed crews linking across space. Physical and energy crews worked as one, guided by their shared humanity. The Hope's Dawn and its sister ships released their newest weapon, beams of pure evolutionary energy. Where they struck, the Queen's forced transformations began to break down. "Their crystals are rejecting them," Dr. Park observed. "They tried to take a shortcut to what we became naturally." One of the Queen ships exploded as its transformations collapsed, its forced evolution turning against itself. Then another fell, its crystals shattering into space. But the remaining queens adapted quickly. Their ships combined into one massive organism, sacrificing themselves to create something new. The resulting entity was larger than a planet, a terrifying blend of organic, crystal, and energy. "All our weapons," Sarah ordered. "Everything we have." The human fleet's attacks splashed harmlessly against the Queen's combined form. Their enemy had sacrificed individual consciousness for pure power, becoming a force of nature. Then Maria's voice rang out, "Captain, we have an idea. The transformed crews, we can do what they did, but better." Sarah understood immediately. Do it. Every transformed crew member from all 5 ships streamed into space, their crystal-merged forms linking together. The physical crews watched in awe as their energy companions created a network of pure light between their vessels. "Now, Captain," Maria's voice called, "fire everything through us." Sarah gave the command. Every weapon on every ship fired at once. The energy passed through the transformed crew's network, amplified and purified by their willing sacrifice. Unlike the Queen's forced merger, this was a union of free beings fighting for a shared cause. The combined blast struck the Queen's massive form. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then cracks appeared in their forced evolution, spreading like lightning through their structure. "Impossible!" The Queens screamed together. "We are pure." "No," Sarah responded as their attack intensified. "You're just change without purpose. We are evolution with meaning." The Queen's combined form began to break apart, their forced changes unraveling. In their last moments, they tried to separate again, to save themselves. But it was too late. The explosion lit up the entire sector. When it faded, the transformed crews returned to their ships, forever changed by their willing union, but still distinctly themselves. "No sign of the Queens," Rodriguez reported, his voice quiet with awe. "They're gone. Really gone." Sarah looked at her crew, physical, energy, and crystal-merged forms working together in perfect harmony. They had proved that true evolution came from cooperation, not force, from accepting change, not demanding it. "Send word to Earth's other survivors," she ordered. "Tell them it's safe to come out now. Tell them humanity has found its path to the stars." The Hope's Dawn glowed with inner light as physical and transformed crews celebrated together. They had not just survived, they had shown the galaxy a new way to evolve, not through conquest or force, but through unity and willing transformation. Humanity's next great journey was just beginning. The end.